What's up, everybody? Are you a loser? Have you lost? Do you want to win? Do you wish you wouldn't lose as often as you do? Well, you're in luck because today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to win. This is the Existential Stoic Podcast. I'm Randy.
In a
That's
nice
Danny.
way.
Yeah. What's up, Danny?
Oh, what's up, Randy?
In life, I have been a loser, I would say. And there was that song by Beck called Loser. And
Yeah,
actually,
great
I
song,
have lost
actually. But
I have lost time and time again, but I don't stay there. How about
yeah,
you? Have you ever been a loser?
I lost a ton. Yeah, I think I've been a loser at times. I've lost a ton. I think we all are. I think that's part of life and like part of growing. And I think but it's funny that too. The older I get too, the thing I think about like winning and success is just keep going, and you will.
Mm.
You only lose if you stop. But like if you totally give up, that's losing. You know.
That's a great mindset because so often in the beginning we want to be an expert. We want to have expert status as soon as we
Dude.
start, and it's just so unreasonable because you have to go through all the months and years of being terrible until you can actually get to the point
Dude,
where you're good.
still to this day, like every time I start something, I'll do it for like 10 minutes. I'm like, why is this not super simple and I'm awesome at it right now? Damn it. Why is this not the way? And then I give myself a self-check and I come back to reality and I'm like, oh wait, it takes time. And I just started, and like I'll get better.
Yeah, bingo. So today's episode, we're talking about how to win, aka not be a loser. And
Yeah.
we're each going to give 3 quick fixes for how to get over this. So if you're a loser, or if you're just not winning, you may just want to give a listen. So I will start. My first one for how to win is define the game. See, most of us, I think, are trying to win a game that somebody else defined. And usually this game is have more money than somebody else, be more popular than somebody else, buy more things than somebody else. And while
Yeah.
these games may seem pretty appealing, most of the time they suck because once you get that, you realize it's very unfulfilling. But also, why are you bothering playing somebody else's game? Like, it doesn't mean anything to you. So I think very important first step for how to win is actually defining the game. Define what winning means to you and make sure that it's something that you can do.
Yeah, I think that's probably like, I think that's like the most important one, which is like know what you're going after and know what success looks like, know what a good life looks like for you. And I think nobody really thinks about that. You're right. They are like we talked about this before. We both played by other people's rules in the past. And it doesn't matter if you win, you still are losing because it's not your life. It's not your metric for success. So it just doesn't matter. And it's like it just doesn't in the end. You have to define the rules and you have to define the game.
Dude,
Yeah.
I keep getting caught in this loop, like chasing my tail, because I know very clearly the things that lead to happiness, like relationships with others, working on goals, helping people, things like that. But I keep getting distracted by this game of making more money, being good at things, being better than other people. And it's like I keep like over and over again, I just kept myself going for these things that don't give any happiness. And I'm like, well, what am I doing?
Dude, I think they totally screwed us up with like expectations and like school and stuff and the way we were graded and the emphasis on A's and it's just like it's all a mess. Yeah. And it's like something you constantly fight your whole life. But I feel like it's getting easier to fight that battle. So that's good.
Dude, I'm still a sucker for it. Like in the master's program, when I was about to get a B, I was like, what is this? And then, dude, I see in the programming boot camp they have like an honors certificate, and I was like, I gotta get that. Oh my god, I'm still a sucker for it.
Oh, dude, I'm still drawn into it too. And that's all like academia, man. It messes up your head, I think. Because it's
Mhm.
like this whole like idea of value, even though it doesn't matter and no one cares.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's
yeah.
just it.
But I know a
Yeah.
personal example of somebody who got all honors, was valedictorian and everything, and then their life just fell apart because it led to nothing. Yeah.
And
So,
because you know what? And they get into the real world and somebody's not patting them on the back and giving them these
mhm.
accolades every 4 months. And so all of a
Yep.
sudden life gets very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough pill to swallow. Um, that's a good first one though. I like that. My first one is and as much as I hate like this terminology, I'm gonna use it, but like you have to play. Like I think like if you want to win, you have to play. And what I mean is you just have to take action. Like you can't sit on the sidelines and just make wishes and do nothing. You can't just be miserable. You can't like just be sorry for yourself. And like we all get there sometimes, but you have to, like they say, you have to dust yourself off, pick yourself up by the bootstraps and get out there and try again. And I think that's the important part. You have to participate if you want to win.
Well, that I think that's a great one for two reasons. So first off is that you actually have to take action. Like this isn't the law, the what is that thing where you just think about it, the
The
secret.
secret or
Yeah,
whatever.
this isn't
Yeah.
this isn't the secret where you just think about it and it comes to you. Like yes, thinking about things regularly helps them come to you, but you still have to put in action. And then second, I think it's important that you said play because this should be enjoyable.
Yeah,
If you're playing a
definitely.
game that you hate, what are you doing? So like, yeah,
We've all
so,
done it though. That's the funny part. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So I think that's a really great one because it emphasizes that it should be enjoyable. Like you're playing. This is a game. We're all gonna die at the end. So like, why
dude.
would you waste your time playing a game you hated your whole entire life?
I hate that whole mindset too of like you should be miserable at work or just do it's like no, find something else then. If it's that bad, stop doing it. Like got it.
Yeah.
You got I mean, yeah, maybe do it for a
Mhm.
little while because you have to, but find something else. Like
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
our one, we have one life. Don't waste
Yep.
it.
Yeah. Bingo.
Yeah.
So my second one is be single-minded. Like I'm reminded of a quote from Les Brown, and I think he got this from Og Mandino's University of Success. But it's like most people miss out on what we want because we get sidetracked by secondary intentions. So
Yeah.
notice how many games you're playing right now. You know, you're playing trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're playing trying to get a promotion at work. You're playing trying to be the perfect parent. You're playing all these different things that we're playing. You're trying to be an Instagram celebrity, like all these different things. And it's like each one of these things is possible, but all of them are not possible. You can have anything you
No.
want. You just can't have everything. So you really need to figure out what it is you want and then go after that with everything you got.
Yeah, I think that one's also really important. And like I'm glad you brought it up because it's one I always have a hard time with because it's like I know what I want, but I also know the sacrifices it requires. And like I'll give you an example. Like right now, like we've been doing the coding stuff and all, and I've been doing a lot of work on it. I'm also working. I don't have a lot of free time to like do other things, so it's like I'm very careful in like when I go out, who I go out with and stuff because I just have to be choosy. And it's like it is hard, but it's like I also know that like it's worth it because like it's a sacrifice for a year or whatever, you know. And like I really want this thing, so like, but it's tough. It is. It's one of the hardest ones because I think you just have to like you have to admit to yourself that like I gotta if I really want this to happen as fast as possible, I need to put all my like all my effort in.
Well, that's a great point. I think it was in Think and Grow Rich where he was talking in the beginning about how anything you want, you have to be willing to give up something. And you have to know up front
Yeah.
what you're willing to give up. And that's like a very clear example. Like you have to give up these opportunities to go out to spend time doing that because that is the cost of this thing that you want.
And doing it well. Yeah, I mean it is. Every choice is a choice not to do something else. I think yeah, keep that in mind. Good one. My second one, and this is one I think that's just necessary along the way too, is like in order to win, you need your mental strength. And I think we talked about this so many times, but I think gratitude is like the older I get, it's like the number one way to that. Like we talked about the small delights, we talked about even just like being aware of what you have instead of always focusing on what you don't have in the future, looking at what you actually have in your life now and being grateful for it. It's so helpful to keep you like motivated, going, and your mental, your head in the right place so you can keep pushing forward.
Yeah, that's a huge one, just maintaining a good positive mental space because everything's easier when you have a good positive mental space.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like
it is.
I was noticing this past week with gratitude, like being grateful for things is great, but also like experiencing them. I noticed that is another way
It
to give
is
gratitude.
nice.
Yeah, because I was like before this past week, I didn't really notice that distinction between like just being grateful for things and actually experiencing them. And I think
Oh, like
that's probably
enjoying it
like
in the moment, like being
yeah,
present and
like
like
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
next level. Like these little miniatures that I paint when I was a kid, they were too expensive to buy. And like but now I can afford them and just like enjoying putting the paint on or like
Yeah, yeah.
living where I'm living and enjoying going for a walk and all these things that while the actual moment while I'm doing it, instead of thinking about something in the future that I want, actually experiencing it in this moment is probably like one of the higher levels of gratitude.
I also think that's like happiness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a great one. Uh, my next one is never give up. Never,
No.
never, ever give up. And I think that's important because, like we said in the beginning, we've both been losers. And now we're both winners. And just
Yeah.
by purchasing our course for 5 easy installments of $19.99, you too can be a winner. But no, it's just like, it's part of a process. We talk about this a lot, how we have this faulty mental model that we think when we get this, then we'll be happy. When we get that, then we think we'll be happy. But really, life is just kind of a bunch of little waypoints along the line. Like we think we get to the top
Yeah.
of the mountain, and we realize it's not the top of the mountain. There's a lot further to go. And
We're all Sisyphus. Like,
yeah, yeah, you just got to keep pushing the boulder up and back down. And so it's like, you just have to keep going. It's not, this isn't the end. Losing isn't the end of it. It's just, this is just where you are right now, and where you are and where you came from really don't matter compared to where you're going. So just focusing on that.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned it too. It's like every time I listen to like How I Built This, like the NPR show where they talk about like people that make businesses and all, or like, or even like listen to like stories about people that like who turn their lives around. The one thing they all have in common is they just don't stop. Like, because you really only lose once you give up. Like that's real. Like if you really want to talk about like not winning, that's not winning. It's the moment you actually give up. And we've all like given up for like a time. You know, we get depressed, we get down, we get beaten. But as long as you pick yourself back up, you haven't lost yet. And you still have time, you still have your life. And I think that's like probably the most crucial thing is like just keep going. And it goes super well with my last one too, which is just face challenges head on, deal with them, and keep learning. Because like that's the only way we change, we grow, and we keep moving forward is by facing these things that like are difficult right now, head on, so we can learn, overcome them, and know how to do it in the future.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great last one, because facing your fears, like everything you want always exists
Yeah,
right on the other end of fear, like right on the other
yeah,
side of it.
it
And
really does.
it's just like, but I mean, when I say you, I mean, I've been paralyzed by fear so much in life. And
Yeah,
it's just something that like it feels so physical, so visceral. Like you can feel it. You literally think that your life will end when you encounter this thing. And then you
yeah,
turn and face it and you just say like no more. Like you're like Gandalf on the bridge. You're like, you shall
yeah. I was
not
just
pass.
thinking that.
and, and like once you do that, the fear kind of just vaporizes. Like it was
Yo,
all made up anyways. Yeah.
it's totally a digression. But did you ever see when they made that movie and he's doing that? The monster is a tennis ball on a thing. So he's
I
like
did
in a
not.
green screen going like, "You shall not pass." It's like this little tennis ball dangling. It's so funny looking when you watch it like that. Which is
But
probably hard to
that's a
act. I
great
mean, give him credit. Like,
that's a great example of our fears,
yeah,
because we imagine our fears like the movie, this giant beast. But
yeah,
really, when we turn and face them, all they are is like a little tennis ball dangling.
yeah. It's an illusion. It's fake, right? It's just it's all CGI.
Mhm.
We're all in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
nice.
Yeah, so that in a nutshell is how to win. And it is, I would say it's very important to win, because
Yeah,
everybody wants to feel important, everybody wants to feel valuable, and like winning is a very good way to do that. And sometimes in
win on
life you
your
can
own
get
terms too. Yeah,
true, true. And sometimes
yeah,
in life you can get stuck down the path of like feeling like a loser, like nothing's going your way. But it's just like starting to accumulate small wins, and then it snowballs into something bigger
yeah.
and something bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So, guys, that's all for today's quick
Yeah.
fix how to win. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Existential Stoic Podcast, I think episode 174. You can check us out on YouTube. You can also listen on the podcasting services. I'm Randy. That's Danny. See you later, Danny.
Later, Andy.